Hey my beautiful souls, welcome back to Finding with Jessie, the life coach. So guys, today we are going to be speaking about ways to validate yourself. So I recently did a video on how to validate yourself, and today we're going to be speaking about ways, like practical ways to validate yourself. And I think this is such an important topic because a lot of people seek outside validation, and some people don't even know what validation is. They don't even know that they're seeking it. So let's first start with what validation is, because I don't think I truly explained that in the last video. So validation is all about acceptance. Validation is all about feeling heard, feeling like you're being seen, having that feeling like your efforts and your contributions, right, they're being recognized. And a lot of people don't know how to validate themselves, and because of that, they seek it outside of themselves. They seek a sense of value, worth, and purpose outside of themselves. But the thing is, in order to truly feel happiness and grounded and to be able to boost up your own self-esteem, that all needs to come from self. That needs to come from you. That needs to be internal, not external. And today, I'm going to be breaking down on ways you can do it for yourself. So tip number one is all about encouragement. It's all about encouraging yourself. So what does that sound like in practical means in the way we speak to ourselves? Well, it's going to sound a little like this. I know I can do this. I am capable of doing this. I can do a little today, and then I could do a little bit tomorrow. There's no rush. I will get there. So those are all ways of encouraging yourself, boosting your own self-esteem up, especially when you're going through dark times or difficult times. This is the time you're going to need it the most. When you're going through hard times and you feel like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. This is when you have to say to yourself and pump your own self up and say, I know we can do this, right? Majority of the time when we go through difficult times, we forget who we are. We forget our power. We forget how powerful we are. We forget how capable we are. We forget about the journey that we have traveled on. We forget about everything that we have conquered, everything that we have come through. So this is the time to remind yourself of who you are and how powerful you are and how capable you are of enduring this time. So this is how you do it. Encouragement is the biggest form of validation, especially when you're giving it to yourself. The second form of validation is all about acknowledging your progress, your efforts, your strives. Too many people do not give themselves enough credit for things that they are trying to achieve in life. So it's super important that when you're going towards something to remember all about the progress. It's all about the progress. It's all about your effort. When you give effort to something, that takes a lot of energy. That takes a lot from ourselves, right? It takes a lot of conquering fears. It takes a lot of jumping over, loops and climbing up from mountains that we never thought that we can even conquer. So it's super important to make sure that you're kind to yourself and that you recognize yourself for all those strives. So what does that sound like? Well, it's going to sound like this. I'm super proud of myself for even trying. I'm super proud of myself for all the efforts I have made to improving myself. I did a great job. I did a good job despite the results. Despite the outcome, I gave it my best. You have to make sure that you're giving yourself accolades for everything you are trying to achieve in life, even if the results don't come out the way that you had desired or the way you have planned, right? Because sometimes we don't always win, right? We don't always win. But the important part is that we even got up to try, right? I said in one of my recent videos that some people are not even in the fight. They're not even in the fight of life. So make sure that if you are the person in the fight, you're giving yourself kudos for the strives and the efforts you made. You don't need anyone else to recognize and see your progress. You have to recognize and see your progress and make sure that you are giving yourself acknowledgement for all of it, including your strengths. The next form of validation is all about accepting your feelings as truth, whether they're negative or positive. Accepting your feelings is super important. You don't need outside people to validate your feelings. Your feelings are your feelings. That's it. That's your truth. What does that sound like? Well, it's going to sound a little bit like this. It's normal to feel this way. My feelings don't define or control me. It's okay to feel down sometimes. That's a super important one. Because a lot of people, when they feel something, they get really upset with themselves. If they feel shame, if they feel doubt, if they feel fear, if they feel scared, if they feel like they're not motivated, sometimes that's just normal. We are human beings. Your feelings are your truth. That's that. There's no need to question it. There's no need to repress it down. No, let it come out. Let yourself feel it and acknowledge it. Validate your own feelings. You don't need outside people to tell you it's okay to feel how you feel about certain situations. Validating your feelings are my feelings, right? My feelings are temporary. In due time, they will change. That's a great way of validating your feelings when you're feeling down and out. But you know, it's only a season, right? Next season, you might feel completely different, and that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes we don't feel our greatest. We're not on the top of our game, but it's okay. Let yourself feel what you need to feel. Validate them. Don't suppress them. Just honor your feelings and be okay with them. Those are all ways of validating your feelings. Like I said, whether they're positive or negative, the point is that you're validating them as truth. You're owning it. You're accepting it. The next validation is all about how important you are. What that sounds like? I'm important too. I'm important too. Prioritizing your needs and your wants. This is a type of validation that's overlooked a lot of times, and we get into a lot of problems when we are not able to validate ourselves and remember that we are important too. So what that's going to sound like? What do those words sound like when we validate ourselves, when we honestly recognize that we are important too? Well, it's going to sound like this. My needs are important. I am important too. I prioritize myself. I'm taking a break today. I need a break today. It's important for my mental health for me to be balanced and give back to me because I'm important too. I'm worthy of this. I matter. That's the way it sounds when you start to validate yourself as being important too. The next form of validation is all about speaking to yourself kindly. I'm beautiful. I'm intelligent. I'm sexy. I'm valuable. I'm worth it. I'm worthy. Those are all ways of being kind to yourself and validating who you truly are, right? Be kind to yourself. When you feel down, make sure you are boosting your own self-esteem and not waiting for anybody else to do it for you. The words that you speak to yourself is super important. How you feel about yourself in the inside is always going to be what you project and push out on the outside. So it's super important to make sure you are speaking to yourself with love, gentleness, and kindness. Other ways in this category to validate yourself is everyone makes mistakes. Majority of the time, people are super unkind to themselves because they're beating themselves up over mistakes they have made. Everyone makes mistakes. I know I'm not perfect. I'm a work in progress. I am trying. I have limits, but I won't let that stop me. Those are all ways of validating yourself. That validation is also about accepting your flaws and imperfections. Too many people do not accept the bad or the shadow sides of themselves, right? The parts that make mistakes, the parts that say the wrong things, the parts that do the wrong things, the parts that, we behave immaturely. That part, you have to be able to accept. We accept the good with the bad. Whatever you don't like, you're capable of changing. You have the power.
We not only have the power to change what we do not like, but we also have the power to protect ourselves. Self-validation is so powerful because once you validate your own importance, feelings, and worth, it becomes a secret weapon for you to use in the war against you. Remember, your enemies cannot destroy what they cannot control. And validation is all about control when you seek it outside of yourselves. When others have access to your validation, that means they can control you. They can control your emotions, your feelings, and your worth. And that's something you don't want to do. So my beautiful souls, that is all I have for you today. And I will see you in my next one. Sending you all love and light. Bye.